Here are the most recent deaths in the national news, as reported at Legacy.com at the end of December 2025 and in the first week of January 2026. Visit Legacy.com to read full obituaries for most of the people featured in this video and leave your own condolences on their Legacy page. Actor Isiah Whitlock Jr. died December 30th, 2025 at the age of 71. He was best known for his regular role on the HBO drama The Wire, playing corrupt Maryland State Senator Clay Davis across the show's entire 5-season run. Whitlock is also being remembered for his performances in movies like Cedar Rapids, Cocaine Bear, and Black Klansman. Journalist Tatiana Schlossberg died December 30th, 2025 after fighting leukemia at the age of 35. She was an environmental journalist for the New York Times and other publications, and she captured hearts just weeks before her death with an essay in The New Yorker that detailed her experience with cancer. Schlossberg is also being remembered as the daughter of Caroline Kennedy and the granddaughter of President John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. Singer and pianist Richard Smallwood died December 30th, 2025 at a nursing facility in Sandy Spring, Maryland. He died of kidney failure at the age of 77. He wrote the modern-day gospel classic Total Praise, and his other beloved songs include The Center of My Joy, What He's Done for Me, and I Love the Lord, which was sung by Whitney Houston in the movie The Preacher's Wife. Smallwood is being remembered as a gospel music great whose music inspired and uplifted his listeners. Dancer, choreographer, and actress Carmen de Lavallade died December 29, 2025 at a hospital in Englewood, New Jersey. She died after a short illness at the age of 94. She was a great of the dance world who performed on Broadway, at New York's Metropolitan Opera, with the Alvin Ailey Dance Company, and on many other stages in her long, award-winning career. De Lavallade is being remembered for a lifetime of dance, which included performing into her 80s, long after most other dancers have retired. Fashion designer Jacqueline De Ribes died December 30th, 2025 at a hospital in Switzerland at the age of 96. Known for her elegance, she designed clothes worn by such celebrities as Joan Collins, Raquel Welch, and Cher. De Ribes is being remembered as a fashion icon with timeless style. Jockey and horse trainer Diane Crump died January 1, 2026 in Winchester, Virginia. She died after fighting glioblastoma at the age of 77. She was a trailblazer in the field of horse racing, the first woman to ride in a pari-mutuel race in the U.S., and the first to compete at the Kentucky Derby. Crump is being remembered for opening doors for new generations of women to join her sport. Holocaust survivor and author Eva Schloss died January 3, 2026 in London at the age of 96. She grew up near Anne Frank in Amsterdam. After World War II, her mother married Frank's father, making Eva and Anne stepsisters after Frank's death. Schloss is being remembered for surviving the horrors of Auschwitz and going on to share her story in her memoirs and as a speaker at schools and universities. Hockey player and coach Bob Pulford died January 5, 2026 at the age of 89. He was a forward with the Toronto Maple Leafs in the 1950s and 60s, helping the team to victory in 3 consecutive Stanley Cups in 1962 through 64, plus a 4th in 1967. Pulford is being remembered as a Hockey Hall of Famer who also had a memorable coaching career with the Los Angeles Kings and Chicago Blackhawks, including winning the 1975 Jack Adams Award as the best coach in the NHL. Political commentator and radio host Michael Reagan died January 4, 2026, after fighting cancer at the age of 80. A prominent conservative speaker, he hosted The Michael Reagan Show on Radio America in the 2000s and wrote columns for Newsmax and other outlets. Reagan is being remembered as the oldest son of President Ronald Reagan and his first wife, Jane Wyman. Basketball player Jawann Oldham died January 5, 2026 in Atlanta at the age of 68. The 7-foot-tall center was a legend of Seattle basketball, a member of the city's renowned Cleveland High team of the 1970s, and a standout at Seattle University. Oldham is also being remembered for his 10-year NBA career, including stints with the Chicago Bulls and Los Angeles Lakers, and for founding basketball leagues in South Korea and China. Actor Sidney Kibrick died January 2, 2026 at a Los Angeles hospital at the age of 97. He was a regular star of the Our Gang shorts in the 1930s. He played Woim, sidekick to the neighborhood bully Butch, before leaving Hollywood for a career in real estate. Kibrick is being remembered as the last of the Our Gang regulars to survive. Hockey player Glenn Hall died January 7, 2026 at a hospital in Stony Plain, Alberta at the age of 94. He was a goalie for the Detroit Red Wings, Chicago Blackhawks, and St. Louis Blues in the 1950s through 70s, and his record of 502 consecutive starts as a goalie hasn't been matched in more than 60 years. Hall is being remembered as Mr. Goalie, a Hockey Hall of Famer who pioneered the butterfly style of goaltending that is now the standard. Chef and food stylist Elle Simone Scott died in January 2026 of ovarian cancer at the age of 49. She was one of the chefs on America's Test Kitchen on PBS, walking viewers through the steps to create dishes like Millionaire's Shortbread, Crispy Falafel, Chicken Liver Pâté, and many more. Scott is also being remembered for her work to mentor fellow women chefs of color as the founder of the organization She Chef. Songwriter Jim McBride died January 6, 2026 at the age of 78. He was a member of the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame, having written award-winning hits for country music greats like Alabama, Conway Twitty, Waylon Jennings, and many more. McBride is being remembered for his long collaboration with Alan Jackson. He co-wrote such hits as Chattahoochee, Chasing That Neon Rainbow, and Someday. 40 people were killed on January 1, 2026, when a fire broke out in a nightclub in Crans-Montana, Switzerland. Before we continue with this week's anniversaries, let's take a look at some of the loveliest obituaries we saw this week at Legacy. They weren't for celebrities, but for everyday people like you and me, including this beloved nurse, grandma, and U.S. Army reservist who retired as a lieutenant colonel from the 5501st Medical Battalion. this Louisiana-born grandfather, whose family remembers him as a man of many talents, from Army veteran to meat-smoking aficionado, and this lifelong wanderer and entertainer who not only traveled all across America and the world, he also sang at Elvis and Priscilla Presley's wedding. At Legacy.com, any family can publish an obituary in honor of a loved one's memory, online and in local newspapers everywhere. Just visit Legacy.com and select your local community. In addition to featuring current deaths in the news, Legacy.com also honors the lives and legacies of notable people who died in the past. Here are some of this week's anniversaries. 15 years ago this week, singer and songwriter Jerry Rafferty died at the age of 63. He was the lead singer for Stealers Wheel, known for Stuck in the Middle with You, and his solo hits included Baker Street. 19 years ago this week, actress Yvonne DiCarlo died at the age of 84. She was a 1960s TV star on The Munsters, and her many movies included The Ten Commandments. 20 years ago this week, singer Lou Rawls died at the age of 72. His R&B hits included the 1976 chart topper You'll Never Find Another Love Like Mine. 40 years ago this week, musician and songwriter Phil Lynott died at the age of 36. He was the frontman for Thin Lizzy, known for 70s rock hits like The Boys Are Back in Town and Jailbreak. Comedian and actor Soupy Sales was born 100 years ago this week. He died in October 2009 at the age of 83. His children's TV show, Lunch with Soupy Sales, delighted children in the 1950s and 60s with skits that often ended with him receiving a pie in the face. Every week in the United States, flags are lowered to half-staff to honor the lives of Americans whose communities are mourning their loss. Here are the most recent half-staff memorial flag honors. Flags across the United States have been lowered to honor the memory of Congressman Doug LaMalfa. Flags in Tennessee have been lowered to honor the memory of Blount County Deputy Sheriff Justin Bradford Mowry, who died in the line of duty. Flags in Indiana have been lowered to honor the memory of Lawrence County Councilman Scott Smith. Flags in Kansas have been lowered to honor the memory of former State Senate President Steve Morris. Flags in Colorado have been lowered to honor the memory of former State Senator Louis H. Entz. Flags in Colorado have also been lowered to honor the memory of U.S. Senator Ben Nighthorse Campbell. Flags in Michigan have been lowered to honor the memory of Hamilton Fire Department Chief David Haverdink, who died in the line of duty. Flags in California have also been lowered to honor the memory of the 31 people who died in the January 2025 Los Angeles fires. Flags in Maryland have been lowered to honor the memory of Detective Paul Hoke of the Baltimore County Police Department. Flags in Massachusetts have been lowered to honor the memory of Uxbridge police officer Stephen Laporta, who died in the line of duty. Flags in South Dakota have been lowered to honor the memory of former state legislator Harvey Crouchin. You can read more about the lives of the people featured in this video on Legacy.com. Follow Legacy.com on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube to stay up to date on national news deaths.